welcome to A Moment in Time with Taylor and Ed, who's hidden behind my veil of technology. We are doing this every Friday at 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, where we meet together and we talk about Tai Lopez's 67 Steps program. And once we finish that, maybe we'll keep having TED Talks. First comment to the broadcast, Ed. Thank you. Did you just invite your followers? I think you did. I was going to say that, but I don't know if you did or not, but if you did, thank you. And I'm going to bring him on in just a minute. But first, I want to say thank you guys for making this show possible. Thank you for an awesome match day yesterday. Special thank you to Ed, South Jersey Broker, there in the comments. Hey, Django, remember I am happily married, everyone, just to keep it all nice and platonic, the way that we like it around here. And I wanted to also just say that this channel is 100% viewer funded at femyoga.com. So please check out the website. Again, that's femyoga.com. The link is in my profile. Hey, Lucas. Whoa. Okay, hang on. We'll block a troll before we bring Ed on. That way Ed doesn't have to, have his innocent eyes blinded by the comments. And I can hear him in my ears, but you guys will hear him in a moment. These are the people from the last 30 days. A lot of them yesterday sent money to support the channel. We had a match dollar for dollar yesterday, but we didn't quite hit our goal. So we're still like $1,100, $1,200 short of our goal. So anything you guys can do to help support this channel, keep this content going and growing so we can keep adding new content creators to the channel and just keep improving the quality and the value for you guys. So if you're on this list, tell me what you want to see more of, what you like, and I'll make sure to bring that value right to you in your home or wherever you're watching. If you're on your toilet, don't tell us. Okay. Ed, are you ready? Off behind. You're ready off the toilet? Oh no, he said hang on first, you gotta get off the toilet. Hey Kyle, first comment to the broadcast on Twitch, and I'm gonna bring him on. If you guys are ready, in 3, 2, 1, and there you are. Wait, you're still muted. Hi, welcome.
Hey. What's up? I'm unmuted.
John just sends a poop emoji to bring you onto the channel.
I was going to just stay on the toilet and do this, but I
because of the
decided
toilet.
it would be better not to.
Oh, now you sound quiet.
Crank
you up. Oh, yeah, now you seem good. Wait, say something. Oh, it's because you keep touching stuff on the desk. This is the same thing that happened last time.
Oh, alright, I'm not touching anything.
Okay.
I'm fine.
Yeah, don't put your hands on it.
I'm going to keep my hands right here. I'm just considering this the whole broadcast.
Hey, Zen, welcome. John says pay the lady. John, how come you aren't paying the lady?
John, send something.
Let's hear the reasons. All right, so we are starting out with step 18. We've been doing this the past few weeks, and I am ready to get to the worst part of the show, which is where we do the number of push-ups for the number step that we're on, which is step 18, which means I have to do 18 push-ups. That is not Tai Lopez. Nope, that's Ed, South Jersey Broker, the guy who did all the matching yesterday. And Sonam is here. Hi, Sonam. Sonam, do you want to do these push-ups for me, please? That'd be great. You want to come on? I'll put you on split screen. You do the push-ups, and then I'll come back.
Yeah. Wait, aren't you doing push-ups?
She said 18. She's not helping at all. Why am I doing push-ups? Why am I not doing push-ups?
Yeah, you have to do 18.
I know, I'm going to do them. All right, so I want to tell you first what step 18 is. Oh, I think I might have already closed it. Stand by. It's called Man on the Moon Contrast Bias, something like that. I'm going to find out. And keeping easy things easy. So, Ed, do you think 18 push-ups is easy?
Yes, very.
You do?
No. Your face was priceless. You're like, you do? No.
Django wants to know if you can see the comments.
Yeah, I can see them.
Okay, are you going to respond to them when I do the push-ups instead of counting my push-ups? Because I don't like that.
I want to make sure you do 18, though.
Stop!
But
I'll make sure I do 18.
But go ahead, I'll count.
They'll count. You guys count at home, but make sure Ed doesn't count, okay?
Can you guys just type 18
Hi, Nick.
into the...
I'll mute him. Django, he's going to do 19 when we get to step 19 right after this.
And
so
yes,
we're
I can see the comments.
Man on the Moon Contrast, keeping easy things easy. That is what Tai calls it. Oh, I'm knocking everything over. What I call it, wait, I can't see myself. No, we're going to do 20 together at the end, don't worry. We're doing steps 18 through 20. I don't know if you guys will be able to see me, but I called it use contrast bias against the best, and your goals will seem easy. Farmer Dave said he'll count. And Django's going to do 18 with me. Django, you're obviously a better man than Ed.
What? Get out of here. We have
Hi,
an agreement
Yasser.
on how these push-ups are going to work. We can do them all together if you want.
If you want to do them, I'm not going to stop you.
18, 19, and 20? All right, fine.
I
do
still
them with
haven't
you.
figured out the right angle for this. You can only see my upper
I'll
body.
do them with you. What you
They can't
do.
even tell if I'm doing real ones. Would it be
You
better
can,
to show just
you
my-
can cheat. Just move your head up and down. It'll look like you're doing a push-up.
Oh my god, I'm already sweating.
Are you ready?
I guess.
All right, let's go. 18, 17, 16. All right, I lost count. I just did an extra one.
I died. I don't even know if I did 18. I counted 18, but it could have been wishful thinking. I'm not really sure.
That sucks.
That sucks. That sucks. Nobody's counting. Good. It's all good. Good. So we can just do however many, and you guys will just think it's however many we said. Dan. Hi, Luna. Dan said he's trying to eat.
That's great.
Okay. I'm trying to put myself near the center of the screen so that the lobby people are like, oh, hey, people, rather than just a line between us. Who said 15? Wait, I'm not close enough to the microphone. Okay, now I'm not even on the screen.
It's just a bunch of like heavy breathing. You can't even
Was
talk.
it just our butts? Luna said she was just checking out our butts.
Maybe. No, I looked up. I had full of myself. I don't know where you were.
Was it just my butts?
No.
Okay.
It was like you hit the top of your head and the back. It was,
I only did 17. Dave said I only did 17. Dave. Dave's gotta call me out. I'm not moving the chair this time for you, Dave. Hopefully you guys can see me back here. Here's my butt, Luna. Okay.
Hey.
There you go. There's your 18th push-up. You're the king of the world, Marky? I'm the queen of the world, but we're not married, so how could that be? My fly is down. There we go. Now we're all zipped up and ready to rock.
All right. Ooh. We're all situated to loosen up here.
No, Nick said no, you have to start over. You can't just do one more.
That would be awesome. But we'll never get through this, so we have to still do. That was 18. We have to do 19 and 20. Now that we're doing them together, we're kind of.
I'm not doing 19. You're on your own for 19.
What? I thought we were doing them together.
Yeah,
Now we're
I
doing
said
18,
I wasn't
19,
going to
and 20?
stop you from doing
Wow.
whatever you want to do.
I have to listen better. Man.
Man on the moon contrast. Do you know what that means? As you
Yeah,
take
I'm
a
in contrast. Nope.
You don't know what that means. Okay, so a man walked on the moon. The idea is that means you can pretty much do whatever you want. So some guy went and walked on the moon. You really don't think that you can make $100,000 or $1 million or whatever it is that you think is a goal that's just might seem intimidating to you. You just think about someone who's done so much more than that. Greg, thank you for the super hats. Hi, Maria. Hola, how are you? Tracy, thanks for inviting your followers. Tracy sponsored the channel yesterday. Ed sponsored the channel yesterday. femyoga.com if you'd like to do the same. Hey, Charlene. So it's kind of like a perspective thing. It's a reframe. Me and Ed talk about reframing a lot. And what you want to do is think of what your goal is, and then think of someone who's done way, 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 way more than that. Like for me, I'm right now trying to get $5,000 a month gross for the channel. So that's like $60,000 in a year. There's people who make billions of dollars in a year. In a year? Is that true? Who's someone who makes anyone make $1 billion in a year? I don't even know.
Sure.
Yeah, like who?
I don't know. I'm sure there's somebody.
Name one person.
Elon Musk.
Elon Musk makes $1 billion a year.
Probably not, but it's the only thing I can think of.
Exactly. So I mean, maybe we should just stick with tens of millions.
Does he make $1 billion?
I don't know, but I know that there's definitely people that make tens of millions of dollars every year,
That's fair.
for sure.
And even 100,000.
And I'm like, oh, how am I going to get $5,000 a month? And then it's like, well, if they can do it, why can't I do it? You know, and what did they do? Because if you start learning from them, how much easier will it be to reach your goals, which are such a smaller percentage of what they've done? Kelly? Sorry.
There's more proof of that too. Do you remember the story I told you about when I was little and I made like $50 in a week? And I kept telling myself if I could just make 100, I'd be set. And then I made 100, and then I was like, if I could just make 200, I'd be set. And it's like, you know, always chasing that like higher number. There's always somebody making that money. Like, there's always a way to do it.
Yeah, you don't have to. Most people, you don't have to worry about hitting the top and not having anyone to be inspired by.
Pretty unrealistic.
My husband says that a lot. He's like, I don't understand. My friends will say like, oh yeah, well, I don't want to work out because I don't want to, and like women in particular, I don't want to work out because I don't want to, you know, look like Arnold Schwarzenegger. I don't want to get too big. And it's like, oh, there he is right now. Hi. I was just saying how you always say, like, people say they don't want to work out because they're afraid they're going to get too big. And it's like, it's probably not going to be the problem you have to worry. Like, too big meaning, like, muscularly, not fat. Like,
especially for women, it's really hard for women to build mass.
Brad Pitt is because he's just like...
I can't hear you.
Oh, they can't hear me?
No. We can hear. I was just telling Ed, because you can't hear him.
You know, Brad Pitt, he's just like... I wouldn't date him probably because, you know, he's just, like, too good looking.
So the reason my husband would not date Brad Pitt.
Wait, I just want to state that was the input. The reason you go up date.
Wait, he's back. What?
He's too good
I've been looking for Jack for hours. He's in the closet, door shut, stretched out, sleeping.
Door shut.
Yeah.
I shut him in the closet. I shut my cat in the closet. But he didn't care. He was just in there sleeping. Is there 2 men? Yes. But one man just left. Hi, Benvito. How are you?
One man just left.
Yeah, I mean, he might come back in and tell us where the cat is. You didn't know Brad was good looking, Benvito? Well, according to my husband, he's too good looking. What do you think, Ed?
Brad Pitt?
Good opinions.
He's a handsome guy.
There we go. Do you think he's too good looking, or would you date him?
I don't think there's such thing as
Those
too
are the
good
only
looking.
choices.
I don't think he's too good looking. I would date him. Sure, why not?
I would date him. Maybe
Brad
with a
Pitt?
decade in the gym and steroids and good genetics, someone would look like Arnold. Sorry, what'd you say?
Brad Pitt. I'm all about it.
Brad Pitt. Okay, so I guess, I mean, I wouldn't date Brad Pitt. I don't particularly care for him, but that's not a problem because I have my husband, so it doesn't matter. That's why I wouldn't date Brad Pitt. I'd be
Just
like,
to
no,
clarify,
Brad.
just to clarify, I'm
Stop
not gay either,
calling
so
me.
I don't need to...
Timestamped. Brad, stop calling me. It's too much. My husband's jealous because he was like wondering if you were gonna ask him out. Okay. Anyway. So, the reframe, you know, just realize that people have done so much more, and your goals really, they're not as scary as you might think.
And also, you know, we had this conversation earlier in the week too. Don't let that in reverse scare you either, because thinking of all the people who've done more sometimes is intimidating, but it shouldn't be. Use it as inspiration, not intimidation.
Yes. Yeah, focus on creation instead of competition. We talked about that a lot with the last book that I read that you got for me, the Secret Self-Made Millionaires Teach Their Kids. Highly recommend that one, you guys. If you don't know, I read a new book every single week, which is part of my mutual interests with Ty Lopez and why I've taken kind of an interest in his business models and his programs, like the 67 Steps. And I oftentimes talk about these kinds of concepts with my friend Ed here, and we have agreements, disagreements, eureka moments, and we just figured that we would start doing this once a week publicly so you guys could benefit and chat with us as well if you like. Benvito wants to know what happened to the blue microphone.
So we still have that. It's still available. Vegan Dough didn't want it.
You should autograph it and put it on eBay like Ruby's apron. We'll see who can get more, Ruby for the apron or Ed for the microphone. Come on, it'll be fun.
Challenge accepted. I think I'll get more because I'm gonna add my video of it where I'm like showing it off.
I still have. If you look at one of our previous episodes on YouTube, the thumbnail is you just with that.
Yeah, that's how I'm gonna promote it.
Oh my god. I read a new book most weeks. Yes, and then some weeks I read 5 books to catch up for the weeks that I didn't read any.
Read 6 books this week. That's fine. 1 a day.
On average, it's kind of like my 3 hours of content a day. Like I might do 6 hours of content one day. and then not. I don't usually do that. I'll do 6 hours, and then I'll still do 3 hours the next day, and maybe 4 hours the next. You just never know. Although we did get started like a half hour late. Oh, when are you cutting us off today?
We can go until 4:30.
Hi, JJ. Okay, cool. So we're going to have the full hour. Although we need to say more things because otherwise we're going to have to do 21 push-ups.
We're gonna end up doing 60
step
push-ups today.
19. This is Ed's set of push-ups. So nice of him to join me on mine. Very nice.
Wait, did we finish
I'm
18?
not
Did we finish
as
18? Was it just Man on the Moon? Is that all 18 was?
Yeah, and keeping easy things easy.
We didn't talk about that at all.
Oh, okay. Keeping easy. What? Lou, what's wrong? What are you confused about? Are we speaking a different language? Could be.
Lou, we're on step 18. We're a little confused. We were
We're
jumping
on
ahead
step
here.
18. Keeping easy things easy. Is that something different?
What is that?
Well, I just kind of thought it was like the same concept, same idea.
No, I think that's different because Man on the Moon is keeping in mind that there are people doing better than you and you can do better too, right? What is it? Keeping easy things easy?
Keeping easy things easy.
The only thing I can think about that is it's keep it simple, like don't complicate things. That would be my only interpretation of that.
Like the KISS method or whatever.
Like KISS
Keep it
mentality,
simple,
which
silly.
is don't take a simple process and make it complicated because sometimes entrepreneurs overthink things and they'll take a 2-step process and make it a 12-step process because they think it's perfect and really it would have been fine as a 2-step process. I have that problem all the time. I literally write out like 40 steps and I'm like, I could have did this in 10, and then I refine it. So yeah, keeping easy things easy I think is really key.
Yeah, I like that too. That actually is like the time that you think something's going to take, it's almost always less than what it feels like it's. No, that's actually for me. So I'm more of a planner. When we get into step 21, we're going to talk about the PACE system and the difference between practical and active and social, emotional, all that. But for me, I'm more of a planner. I kind of like to know what's happening ahead of time and kind of have control. Chico, what are you talking about? You're freaking me out. Don't try to focus on what we're talking about here. Keep it simple, stupid. Yeah, I like to say keep it simple, silly. It's a little bit nicer, right? What was I talking about? Ed, feed me the line.
I don't know what you're saying.
Can someone else please come on the show with me?
Well, I know.
I was saying as a planner, I don't like to be caught off guard by things. I always think things are going to take longer than they do, whereas other personality types that are more active, more spontaneous, less of a planner, more like just they want to kind of go off the cuff, they're more going to be, yes, Chico, let's get serious. I'm sorry, I'm like trying to make sure he's not trolling because there's no more moderation, where my husband thinks everything's going to take like 5 seconds because he's more of like this active type. So it's kind of the opposite, I think. So I don't know if everyone's like that, but for me personally, I think things are going to take forever, and that'll make it easier for me to put off certain projects because I'm like, oh, that's going to take so much time and so many resources, so much energy and thought, and then I'll go do it, and it's like less than 30 minutes half the time, whatever it is, like almost always. It's just like, wow, that was really not that hard, or a couple hours or something, and that's kind of like, it seems harder in my mind. But the trick is to just do something. So in one of these books, Eat That Frog, Brian Tracy talks about the Swiss cheese method. So it's like just do something. Just do some part of the project. Just something. Put a little hole in it. Even if you don't like finish the whole thing or even know when you're going to finish it, just do a little piece of it. Because oftentimes you just start on it and you'll finish it. Or you'll get a lot more done than you planned. Like you'll commit to cleaning, for 5 minutes or 10 minutes and end up cleaning for an hour or something.
Yeah, and something else too, this kind of goes with goal setting too, but if you take a big goal or you take a big project, like say you wanted to clean the room you're in, if you listed all the things you had to do to clean that room, you wouldn't necessarily have to clean the room in one shot. You could clean it 1 or 2 steps at a time, and that's a much easier way to not overestimate the time it takes to do something. So like if, stack the books on the bookshelf, clean up the floor, clean up the desk, all those were steps, and you just did one of them, you would be successful because you could cross a step off to achieve the goal and you wouldn't have to complete the entire goal.
Exactly. So. There's a whole chapter in this book called Slice and Dice the Task. So Swiss cheese, your task is in here. Develop a compulsion to closure. I have that pretty naturally. I don't like to leave things unfinished, which is why I don't want to start them, because I don't want to leave it. I don't want to have it partially done. It's like, oh, I know this is going to bother me and cause stress. So I only like to start something when I know I can finish it. But then that prevents me from starting it, you know? So starting it is easier than it seems in my mind. And I don't know if anyone else out there relates to that. But
Sonam said I committed to everyday scopes for motivational talks. I definitely did not commit to that.
you did? When are those motivational Mondays?
No.
Are you going to have clothespins?
Clothespins?
For your, you know.
What?
You don't remember that? Also, just crossing the item off a list is kind of nice, too. That's true, Saul. Yeah, so even knowing that you did a little bit also gives you that satisfaction, that reward, and that like, little taste of productivity, which makes you hopefully want more. Son of Nick, how does he not remember this? He blocks this stuff from his brain.
Oh, yeah, I do. Okay, I remember now. I totally remember now. I really don't want to remember.
He's like, crap, I forgot, and now I just have to remember again.
That's a far why. Hate all three of you.
But this is the other term that he used, so Swiss cheese, and then also he calls it salami slice. So that's like you were saying, you just take a little piece off. You just slice a little piece. Okay, now you have a little bit smaller salami.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of that. When I have a lot of large tasks on my to-do list, I love breaking them down into little steps because I can jump around too. I have like ADD, like called entrepreneurial ADD. I want to like do all kinds of stuff all at once, and like you can't do big projects that way or you'll lose focus. But you can complete the little steps inside a project and jump to another project and do another little step and jump back, and that kind of satisfies that like feeling of needing to move around a lot. What's going on over here?
Next saying that's what she said. I knew when I said something about now you'll have a little smaller salami. I was like, this is not going to end well.
That's a good one.
Trevor, hey, how are you? Welcome to the Scope. I was going to say something else. I got distracted by the salami.
Nick needs to carry us on, and that's what she says because I can't say why I'm live.
Wait, big projects. You said there's no way to do it. You want to do a lot at once. You want to do a bunch of different tasks.
Hey, Trevor. I'll respond to the comments while you're refocusing.
Okay, yes. You do that.
It's great.
You're not reading comments at all.
I just read the one that says Tai Lopez is the worst, and I don't agree with that 100%.
Not 100%, but how much percent would you agree with that troll statement?
Why do you have to ask drill down questions? Just take my answer. I don't agree with it 100%. Only like, I don't even want to say the percent.
50-50.
Just a little
Well,
higher.
how about we make a decision at the end of the steps?
That's fair. Okay.
Okay.
Well, I agree.
99.9% he said. Hello, Stu Hartman. How are you today? Welcome. I'm Taylor. This is Ed. And these are Tate Talks. We just made that up. I made that up. I actually made that up a while ago. Remember I said we were going to do that, and then we never did, and I was like, I'm calling this one Tate Talks.
It's good because it can covers
Are we
everything.
get sued?
Are we going to get sued for what?
For calling them Tate Talks.
Nah.
It's possible.
Maybe.
Can we please just get to step 68 where he tells us how to buy 100 Lamborghinis? Ed, do you know about that step? I don't think I got that step in mine.
Didn't see that one.
A curator of information. Web. Yeah, I like information too. Actually, we're going to be talking about that in the next step, I think. But there was one other... Oh, the book. I wanted to say there's a book called Getting Things Done. The author's name is escaping me at this moment, but I would recommend that one as far as getting projects done. I actually liked that. I know, people always say I sound like Anna Kendrick. Hopefully that's good for you, because I can't change it. You want your mansion now, Zen? I'm sorry, I don't know what to say. You can't have it now, you have to earn it. Earn it now.
Zen, just go to Tai Lopez's website, buy a couple of his products. They're all like $500 each, and then you'll have a mansion.
Yeah, I don't know about that. I would not do what he just said.
That's what Tai says. I'm not saying that.
No, we're not really into crypto, actually. Can I speak for you on that?
I hate crypto, personally.
There we go. Tai puts together a bunch of stuff in one place and sells it. Yep. And that's what this is. These are some of his ideas. So getting things done kind of tells you how to break a project down into actionable items. But also in that book they say, and this is a way to keep easy things easy, if there's any task that you have that's going to take I think in the book he says 2 minutes or less. I kind of changed it to 3 minutes for myself because I don't know, for me 3 minutes is still a pretty short period of time. I can get a lot done in 3 minutes. If I can get it done in 3 minutes, do it immediately. Once it occurs to you when you're thinking about it, just do it then. Everything else you want to prioritize and be clear, make sure you're doing the most important things first. But anything that's going to take just a couple minutes of your time, it's going to waste more of your time to prioritize it, put it in some hierarchy, and figure out when you're going to do that and schedule it into your calendar. And it's better to just do it quickly. So you can kind of give yourself like a 5 minute or less time window. If it's going to be like a really quick thing, get it done. Don't let other people interrupt you with stuff like that as much as you can help it. Like, don't do other people's stuff for them that's going to take 5 minutes or less. But as far as tasks for your own goals, personally, that's my advice.
Yeah, because I get that interruption a lot. Like those 5 minute tasks, and I don't want to add them to my to do list, and they are for somebody else, usually a client or something, and I'll try to bang them out. And as I'm doing it and almost finishing it, another one comes in, and all of a sudden it's an hour later and 20 tasks later, and my to do list is still there, fully incomplete. So it is important. What you just said is spot on. Like, just do your stuff, but not other people's, if you can help it.
Yes, and that goes for, I believe in, you want to have reciprocal relationships in your life. So I think with children, it's a little different. Like, if you're raising children, they're not really going to be able to reciprocate for a while, and that's normal. That's to be expected. You knew that ahead of time. But as far as whether it's marital relationships, friendships, colleagues that you work with, even employer-employee type relationships, you want to make sure that it's give and take, and that no one's just getting everything from you and you're just giving and not actually receiving anything from the relationship. You want to avoid that. So if it's a give and take, there's going to be times you are doing things for other people. There's something called the love languages, the 5 love languages, one of which is acts of service. So doing things for people could actually help them to feel loved by you, and if you never did anything for them, they might actually never feel love from you at all, no matter what else you do, and then that could be the end of that relationship. So it's important to do things for people sometimes, but it's definitely a balance, and I would say pretty much just know if you're going to do something for someone who can't do anything back for you, it's charity, and look at it as that, and make sure you kind of like budget out your time and your energy, your resources for charity. You don't give more than you're getting, because it's just as much. It's just like spending more than you're getting. Yes?
Sure.
You don't agree?
No, I agree.
He's not listening because he's reading the comments. Okay.
I agree with
Step
everything.
19.
I was listening. If I had any disagreement, I would have let you know.
Okay. Are you going to do push-ups now? You don't have to do the 20. I'll do the 20.
No, just do the 19 too. This is going to be a lot of push-ups. All right.
I'm not doing the 19. I'll pass
You're really
out.
skipping
My
it?
uterus is having problems, you know what I mean? Not problems,
yeah.
it's normal, but
Mine too.
it's like day 4 of my cycle. What day of it is of your cycle?
Day 4.
We're on the same
Just kidding.
cycle?
I don't know.
Hi, Trace.
Just count them. Can you count the push-ups so I don't have to count?
I'll count
Maybe.
them. We're going to count them for him, you guys. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. Yes! Do them all. What happened to equality? No. We don't have equal arm muscles, so we don't do equal amounts of push-ups. Men don't have a cycle. They do, actually. Your hormones actually do function in a cycle, I think. Now, I don't know this 100% because I haven't actually studied the brains myself, but I've heard
that rumor too.
that men do have a hormonal cycle similar to women's. The hormones are different and the symptoms are different, but yeah, interesting, right?
I would agree that's true though.
Hola, Marinina. ¿Cómo estás? Over on Twitch. JJ says they do have a cycle. They have a 24-hour cycle with testosterone. Oh, is that true, Webb? 24 hours?
I don't know. Is it?
I don't know. Speaking of testosterone and Tai Lopez, he got his testosterone checked and he claimed that it came out at some ridiculously high number. People are like going crazy with like, holy crap,
yeah.
Tai Lopez is like way too much testosterone in his system.
You have to ask yourself though, would he admit if he had no testosterone? Would he be like, I had my testosterone tested, and I'm basically a woman.
What is happening right now? Nick says, I have a bicycle, and Donna says, Ed, do you wear a panty liner?
What? Panty liner?
Do you know what that is?
No idea.
It's like a pad.
Yes.
He says, yeah. Oh, in that case, yeah. Actually, men can use bladder control pads, basically. They're like pads for women, but it's if you have any issues with wetting your pants, urinary incontinence, that can help to absorb the pee. Like a diaper.
It's good advice.
But it's less absorbent than a diaper.
What step is this?
No, not an iPad, Lou. You ready to just dive right into step 19 because you're in a big rush to get to step 20?
No, wait. Tai Lopez is step 18 and a half. Wear panty liners.
So you don't wet yourself.
Don't wet yourself.
You've heard men's testosterone peaks in the morning and cycles down through the day. Oh, interesting. When they wake up, it's at its peak? That's kind of weird. I feel like they're like the least aggressive when they wake up. Maybe right before bed would be the least. I would still think it would be like, boop, cycle. You have a laptop, Zen? Okay, are we just saying random things that we have? I have cash cannons. I'm hot. Florida Freaky says, I grew up in New Jersey.
What part of New Jersey?
Hi, Eric. Are you okay? Are you dying?
I'm breathing.
Are you hot?
I'm warm.
I'm really hot, so I don't even do those.
So like, so here like this.
Okay, you sit back, relax. I'm gonna say what step 19 is.
Yeah,
Hey, Turds Buds? Is that your name? Step 19, according to Tai Lopez, is called Amazon.com and the $32,000 brain budget. I forgot to look up what he talked about with Amazon.com. Oh, Amazon.com being a good source for investing in yourself, for buying books used and at a discount price. Donna says Ed is hot. A woman's body's built for childbearing. Exactly. I would be much better at giving birth than Ed would be. I think we can all agree.
I'd put up a good battle, though.
Zen likes to use the toilet. He doesn't want to use diapers. And thank you to the real peepees for the super hearts. What the hell?
What's going on today?
It's okay like that? Okay, I'm going to call you Turds Buds because that's fun to say. No, I don't want to call you that. What's your name supposed to be? How about just Buds? Trevor, thanks for the super hearts. Our scopes are always like this. You know what? Because it's like towards the end of the day on a Friday and everyone's just lost their minds. I mean, I don't really have an excuse for that, but yesterday was match day. I was awake for like 20 hours yesterday. Or 18 hours or something.
Total
weird. No, it was more than that. It was like 20. You're just making stupid comments. Then keep them coming. I love the comments. We don't want any slowdown on those comments. Keep them coming. Quick. Faster. I see no comments. No, actually, I do see that bot commenting. What's his name? What's his name? Okay, wait. We gotta say this bot name out loud. It's too funny. Let's look it up. Let's make sure it's a bot before we make fun of their name. I'm not gonna say it. It's too much. It's no. Okay. That's crazy. I need my sleep. Yeah, I was just like really wired up for match day because we were like at like half of what our goal was, so I couldn't sleep or stop. Tuckerton in the house. Tuckerton, is that a feet piece thing? I'm gonna get off for now, but maybe back later. Bye, JJ. Have a good day. Oh my god, the bots. Can we? I thought I blocked you already. I want to say your name so bad. So what's up here, Buds? Buds, we are talking about step 19 from Tai Lopez. Did I already say it? Yeah, the $32,000 brain budget. So Ed and I talked about this a little before we went live, and we talked about the importance of investing in yourself. That's what this step is really about. So in terms of investments, let's talk about it from our own perspective. How would you say, like, you split up? Well, actually, let's even rewind. Let's put the horse in front of the cart here and talk about the importance of tracking your money coming in, going out. You're a total pro at that. You've been helping me with that on my own business. I could definitely get better all the time. So do you want to say a little about that?
about tracking money coming in and out.
Yeah, like what are some tips? What's the best way to do it? How can you start? Like, a lot of people don't even know. Like, they know how much they make in a year, but they don't know how much they spend, like how much of that is actually discretionary income.
Yeah, I think if we're talking about it from a non-business perspective, like if we're talking about it from a personal level, you definitely would want to start with a budget for your personal life. That's the easiest place to start. It's also the scariest place to start. Admitting to yourself what you spend money on is probably the hardest thing in the world, but that is the first step to building wealth. Trying to reel that in and figure out where your money's going and where it's coming from. It's usually really easy to figure out where your money's coming from. Most people get a paycheck, so you just add up your paychecks for the month. That's your income, and then start listing your expenses. And if you search the internet, you'll find expense sheets that'll remind you of things. And the reason I'm saying that is because most people put things like their money to live, like their house, their utilities, food, clothing, things like that. But they forget things like gifts for birthdays, medical expenses, insurance costs like premiums and copays, prescription drugs, like you have to buy something from a pharmacy. They tend to forget they forget like their pets, like the expense of having a pet. So it's really important to try to have like a vast resource to pick from to build the budget, so you can kind of go through and see what things apply to you. And that's where I would start, no matter what level you're at. If you don't have some sort of budget, like start with that. And that'll get you in the habit of tracking things. And by the way, I'm not great at it either. I know how to do it and I do a lot of it, but I still could get better. I think you can always get better though. So.
It's like everything in life, right?
Yeah.
We're always capable of more.
Always.
But it's important. We talked about this the other day too. It's important with actually that book that I just mentioned. I should show it to you guys in case you want a screenshot. This is a great one. On Twitter, this author is @Siebel, just the last name. Really, really, really great book. And we're talking about, knowing that you're always capable of doing more. Sorry, leave it up for another couple seconds. You're always capable of doing more, but you're always content, satisfied, fulfilled, happy with what you have and what you've already accomplished. So it's kind of a balance. You don't want to be always looking for the next thing and never enjoying your current successes. And when you reach a goal, you have to enjoy that and feel that pride and know what it took to get there, rather than just saying, okay, I need to do more, I gotta push for more. Sonam, do not troll me. That's not even his username on here. She's Kayvon trolling. Oh. You're curious. Okay. This is a good question. U4IK1 on Twitch says, sorry if this question is a bit derailing. It's okay. That's like everything on this channel.
We're derailed like 80% of this.
I just came into this late, but I'm curious, of the things that you two have invested in pertaining to Tai Lopez's programs, so far, have they worked? You want to start?
So the only thing I invest in generally is real estate. And the only program I know that Tai Lopez has about real estate is basically how to wholesale houses with no money. That's not necessarily investing in real estate. Just to give you a quick summary of what that is, he's basically just making a deal with somebody to buy a house, and then he's selling the contract to that, so you don't actually need any money to buy the house. Another investor is buying that contract and then closing the deal, and he's collecting the money in between. When I say he, I'm not saying Tai Lopez. I'm saying that's what he's implying in that system. And that's an okay way to make money. That's just another like side hustle, basically. But that's not actually investing in real estate. So as far as what Tai Lopez talks about, I don't really invest in any of that stuff. And mostly what Tai Lopez talks about is not investing. Most of what he talks about is how to generate income. Like most of his things are, online marketing. He has a whole thing on cryptocurrency. I didn't even check that out because I just have no belief in cryptocurrency at all. I know a lot of people love it. So if I'm pissing anybody off with that comment, I apologize.
Don't apologize.
Tell us not apologizing, but I'll apologize.
Okay, fine. You can apologize if you want. Yeah, we're on Twitch too. We're live on Twitch and Periscope. Now, for me, I actually also haven't purchased any of Tai Lopez's programs myself. Actually, my access to the 67 Steps program and also his Accelerator program is from my husband's purchase, and they told him that he could share all the products and systems and programs with me as his wife. So I actually personally haven't invested in them either, but when he got the 67 Steps program, it was $67. I don't know how he structures that now or if you can even still buy that program, but I can tell you that what I'm doing right now, if I wasn't exposed to Tai and his beliefs and how much he reads and the 67 Steps in particular, I'm pretty certain I would not be sitting here right now with you guys today doing this, because I modeled a lot of my business around what he does and took a lot of his advice from the 67 Steps, one of which we talked about in the beginning. It was like step 3 or so, the importance of mentors. And when I started, I read this one book called Big Game Hunting, which was recommended to me by one of those mentors. Like, okay, so let me go back to that step. Find 10 people you'd like to be mentored by and write their names down right now, and then start reaching out to them today. Just start emailing them, figure out how to contact them. If you don't get anything back from the email, figure out a different way to contact them. Try Twitter, try LinkedIn, try wherever. Just find them, try to reach out, connect with them. Realize that humans are humans, and just because someone's really successful doesn't mean that they're unattainable. It doesn't mean that you can't reach out and talk to them and learn from them. So once I realized that and I started doing that, I connected with a lot more high-level thinkers and producers and achievers than I ever would have otherwise. So that one lesson alone was worth far more than $67. You know what I'm saying? And this is actually a pretty good segue into the stuff we're talking about right now, which is the importance of investing in your own self-development and education. Ty argues that that should be 1/3 of your discretionary income. Ed, what do you think it should be?
I probably realistically would spend 10% or less. And the reason I'm saying that is because a lot of the stuff you can get comes from the books. Most of the gurus that teach you things, most of the systems and things they create have come from the hundreds and thousands of books that have been written by other people. Even the newer books are just regurgitations of much older books that are more applicable to today. So if you just read a lot of books that you can get pretty cheaply, you can pretty much gain all that knowledge. What you're paying the guru for is you're paying them to put it together for you. You're paying them to basically say, look, I'm taking this little snippet, I'm taking this little snippet, and I'm putting it together, and this is how you apply it today. You still have to apply it. You still have to go out and grind it out. But I think Tai Lopez's biggest benefit, the thing he offers me that I find most appealing, is the fact that he appreciates knowledge and just understanding things and reading. And, from all the noise and everything he does, and he's a great marketer, that's the one thing that I really get from him, is just that, reading is really, really important. And, it's got me a lot further.
Yeah, he's pretty good at sales and marketing. He seems to get quite a lot from his programs. And he gets people almost basically like volunteering their time to him, I think, too, with the benefit of being around him, learning from him, and kind of being around that lifestyle. And I was going to say something else, but Lou asked a question that I forgot what I was going to say. Lou wants to know how we first met. Was it trivia?
Family Feud.
Family Feud. Do you want to tell the story? Is there a story?
Is there a story?
Do you guys remember when I used to play Family Feud on here?
Yeah, I actually wasn't on Periscope all that much prior to that. I kind of jumped on once in a while just to check it out. I'm always checking out new apps and things to try to figure out what's next, and I'm usually doing it for a business purpose. I think I had run into Taylor on Family Feud Scope, and it was fun. So I was like, all right, I'll hang out. And then I realized she loved business, and that was the end of that. So I didn't realize there were other people who love business as much as I do that were out there promoting it and talking about it all the time. So that kind of hooked me in, and that's it.
Yeah, it was kind of the end of that once we realized. Well, yeah, actually, so Lou, that's a good point. So I think I did ask Ed to do a call with me once a week. I think I asked, I would assume.
You did. I think you posed it can we do a call? And I'm like, yeah. And then it was once a week. I'm like, okay.
Yeah. Was it just a call, just the first one? Yeah, probably.
No,
that's a better way to
well, because you didn't know. If you remember, you said you didn't really like doing phone calls. I'm like, yeah, I don't know either. I'm like, we'll just. Yeah. But then I think it was really productive for both of us, so it ended up just becoming a regular thing. Because, I want to put that out there too. I get as much out of it as you do. It's not I don't feel like it's one way as far as you get all the value out of that. The stuff we talk about generates all kinds of ideas into my mind that I then go back and reapply to what I'm doing. So it's extremely beneficial just to have those conversations. The reason I enjoy having them with you is because you're very passionate about what you do. And I know that it's not falling on deaf ears. I know that if we're having a conversation about a business topic, we're both very passionate about it. So we're going to get something out of it, as opposed to there are a lot of people who pretend to be interested in business and you try to have a conversation about it. And because they really aren't interested, they immediately start to change that topic into something else. And it's just not the same. So.
Yes.
I appreciate
There's a
the
lot of
fact that
people
you-
who are interested in getting money.
Yeah, they
But
want to
not
get
a lot
money.
of people
Easy
as
as possible.
interested in business that I find. I have a really hard time finding people who want to talk about business with me 24/7. So it's
Same
kind of
here.
awesome.
It's
But
really
that's-
difficult.
That is pretty much so. Before my first mentor that recommended that big game hunting book to me, I set up monthly calls with him, which he used to charge a pretty high premium for people to do that with him. But because of the way that I reached out to him in a more personal kind of way, and I reached out and I said, hey, I'm just looking to learn as much as I can. I'm starting to run my own business. I really don't want to fail. I don't want to have to go back to work for somebody else. You're running your own business. You seem like, you're doing well. You're making a lot more money than I even intend to make. What can I learn from you? What can I give you that you might be interested in? Well, he wanted to learn how to meditate. He had just read the book Miracle Morning by Hal Elrod and learned the importance of meditation, and he saw the opportunity to have a private meditation teacher, basically. And that's what we did. Once a month, we would do, I think it was like an hour call. We would do a half hour of business talk, and he would give me like a million book recommendations. I'd give him book recommendations, and we would just talk business. And then the other 30 minutes, we would basically talk about like stress and triggers and meditation techniques and do an actual meditation together. So then something happened basically to that relationship, and I didn't really have anybody in my life that was really interested in business for a while. I don't actually know how long that was. But then that was kind of like when I met Ed and saw how much he liked business and how interested he was, that's kind of the same way that I approached it. I was like, how can we do this? And then it just turned out that every week, we just think very similarly, and it's really easy for us to talk about different things. And every week, when you run a business, there's always new things. What did I say yesterday or earlier today? That each day brings a unique set of circumstances. So there's always new things that we're working on and doing, and new ideas that it's weird because real estate and live streaming are not at all.
But what we have found is basic business principles apply to almost everything.
And I think that's what caught Ed's eye with live streaming, was that it's a new business. We're trailblazing. We're like one of the first organizations of its kind, potentially in the entire world. I mean, as far as live streaming on the internet, from kind of like an amateur perspective, not coming from a news station and starting to utilize live streaming as a tool for an existing network, but actually building a network out and using the live platform as the channel and as kind of the server for that. And that makes me really excited, but actually Ed is the one who put that into my mind, that that's what we're doing here, that this is like the first business of its type like this, and there's nothing that could give me more energy than that, to know that I'm inventing something. Basically, we're creating something brand new.
Yeah, it's really cool.
Yeah, U4, I agree. He said he likes that Ty does he tries out different supplements and then gets blood tests, like after he's been trying it for a certain time, to see what differences actually come up in the blood.
Again, keep in mind that Ty is now selling supplements, so this is all for
he?
that. Yes.
Interesting. So he's testing
He just launched a new supplement product, or I think what he's trying to do is show what his supplement does, which is totally fine. Like I said, the man is a genius. Like, really, at the end of the day, sometimes Tai Lopez annoys me, but a lot of people annoy me. But Tai Lopez is a genius. I mean,
Do
he's
I
a
annoy
marketing
you?
genius. No, not at all. But Tai Lopez, man, he is just, the guy's smart. And what he doesn't know, he finds people who do know, and then he gets them involved, and then he uses what he knows to make what they know go even further. That's awesome. So
Yeah,
if
totally.
anybody,
Ty Lopez, yay! And I really want to meet him, so I'm more pro Ty, I think. Thank you, Ken. You like my water jug? I'm really hot, so I need it. Woo! So many. That's a really long comment. I'm gonna read it in a minute. Oh crap! I just get so sidetracked by these comments. Another way to invest in yourself is by something I was gonna say. You had your eyes opened by Edwin. Getting out of your comfort zone. I'm sorry, before I read all these comments. Yeah, get out of your comfort zone. It's a great way to invest in yourself, in your own personal growth. That doesn't really cost anything necessarily, unless the comfort zone is maybe like related to money. But if it's something where you're afraid to ask this girl at your local library to go out with you or something like that. Okay.
sounds like
Yes.
that's familiar.
It does sound a little too familiar.
Oh,
God. Maybe you should just try it. Just put yourself out there. Yesterday, I did a public broadcast because I feel uncomfortable broadcasting publicly. So I was putting myself out of this comfort zone. I'm bringing new content creators onto my channel to broadcast under my brand with their own style and their own flair, and that's out of my comfort zone. I love it. I'm loving all of this, but it's like I'm right on the cusp of a lot of big growth, and right before the growth, you're like, just like when you're exercising, there's growing pains sometimes. Not pains, but just you're out of your comfort zone, so there's discomfort.
Well, yeah, and you're fighting fear and you're fighting unknown and that kind of stuff. And as it becomes more known, it becomes more comfortable and less fearful, and then it becomes more viable, so to say. But,
exactly. Yeah, you realize that like there's nothing to be scared of out here, so then it's just easier to keep pushing yourself outside of the new zone.
but that's the fun of being an entrepreneur, being afraid, sensing that fear, knowing it's going to work, and then doing it anyway, and then just like it works, and you're like, oh my god, it's like a high.
Yes, yeah, you're like, I knew it was gonna work. I'm so smart. Okay.
I didn't go that far, but that's fine. However you celebrate it.
Don't feel bad. Don't feel bad about derailing me. Send as many comments as you want. If I miss
will
them,
do.
I'm sorry, but yeah, don't worry about it, guys. Keep them coming. Lou says that he had his eyes opened by you when you showed a house live and then actually made money on it.
Yeah. I mean, it's pretty much my business. It's real. I mean, the stuff I show is real. I only did a scope because I was actually inspired by you and your scopes, and I wanted to kind of show what I was doing. But yeah, it's nice to be able to kind of inspire people to do other things. Even if you don't do real estate, you can pretty much make money in anything if you just have some kind of understanding of what you're doing.
Yeah. And if you run a successful business, you kind of always have teaching people how to run a successful business as a backup plan for, a program or system service that you could offer, which is kind of something I think too that because I've been telling you that you should do that for a while, but I think it's kind of like, well, it's just because you're good at it. It's not necessarily that you should spend time developing that as a business, but anyone who considers that, you really can't just be a business coach if you've never successfully run a business.
That's 100% true. There are plenty of business coaches who will coach you and have never run a business, and that's a horrible idea.
That is their business, and that's their first business. Yeah, you're like, what?
It's the worst idea ever, because the only one who's going to get rich in that is them, and you're going to probably get hurt somewhere.
Maybe. I hope not.
I would, well, I mean, think about a business coach who's coaching from a place of no experience is not really a viable coach. Like, how can you take that advice seriously? Even if they duplicated advice, the problem comes into when you have a problem, like a real world problem, and they don't have a real world solution because they have zero experience. That's when it becomes, and then God forbid they actually try to fake it and give you advice on a problem that they have no knowledge about. You literally could end up in like a devastation financial position. So like, I'm not a fan of that. Personally, I don't think I would do coaching now in my life. I'm really passionate about the businesses that I am running. I would consider that though, like when I retired, like as something to do, because I do enjoy it and it's fun. The stuff we do is really fun. Helps me with my businesses. It's something to do. But I think I would do that when I didn't need to do anything. That's probably when I would get into that.
Right. Yes. Like personal trainers. That's a great example. Actually, yoga teachers fall into that category too. I am not the most advanced yogini you're going to find in the world. But most people that want to do yoga are beginners anyway. So for me, it works out pretty much fine. And same thing with person. Like I'm still more advanced than the average person might want to be. But someone who's been doing yoga for 10 years probably doesn't want to learn yoga from me, who's been doing yoga for 5 years, considering that how much am I really going to teach them? I mean, you can learn something from everyone. But if you really want to advance, like if you want to learn a really advanced yoga practice, you probably want to find someone who's like in their 40s and has been doing yoga for at least 20 years. And you know what I mean?
Can I add something to that? Because I think this is important. I think your level compared to the person you're learning from, their level is really important.
Yeah.
And just to give you my own personal experience, I generally work out with a trainer. And when I first started, the trainer I had was not in shape. Now, for me, it didn't really matter because I wasn't in shape at all. Like I had no fitness at all. So what they taught me was still good. And I got in better shape than I was. But all I got to was their shape, basically. Mm-hmm. And once I got to that plateau, I realized I was at that plateau. And then I sought out a better trainer. And that's, I think, how life goes too. Like you just need to make sure whoever you're buying something from or you're learning from is just a little bit further ahead than you are. Once you catch up to them, and if they're not growing, then it's time to move on to somebody else. There's nothing wrong with, getting to the maximum that somebody can offer you. And then, finding somebody bigger to move forward with. It's just, that's how life works.
Yeah, I know. I love it. It's so fun. Oh my god, that's awesome. Okay, and I want this comment to get buried. So he says, this is U4 over on Twitch. I've actually been wanting to start streaming. Just because I'm a very personable, social person. I've done it before with my friends randomly, and people always say, wow, you're pretty good at this. I'm just afraid to start, since the job I currently work at, I make 6 figures and health benefits, etc. I'm just not happy with it, I love that feeling. Sadly, I seem to never make great decisions in my life. I feel like I'm making the right decisions, but they typically end up turning out wrong. I know, try 9 times and succeed on the 10th time when it comes to entrepreneurship, etc. But my support cast in my life isn't good enough to help me keep my confidence level up with trying new things. Well, don't blame your circles for themselves being low quality. You chose to make that your circle, and you can choose today to elevate that circle if you think that your support system has anything to do with the lack of your success. I'm sure it does. It's definitely a lot easier to do cool things when you have 5 different really high performing friends and family members around you kind of telling you, all right, what are you doing today? This is what I'm doing. You can do this. You got this. You look awesome today. You're going to kill this. What goals do we have? That's going to be easier for sure. So I think it's a good thing to keep in mind, to elevate your people and to stop spending time around those people that aren't elevating you, but also take that self-responsibility. You can probably find time to live stream without quitting your job.
Yeah, I think that's good advice. If you can't find replacement income in what you're doing, I wouldn't quit your job. Just because you don't like it. Not liking a job is not a reason to blow up your financial spot. If that's your source of income,
Yeah, and the chances of you making 6 figures off of a live streaming job you'd be one of the first people in the world to do that.
The reality is the chances of making 6 figures off of anything is really, really low. It's really low. So if you're making 6 figures in your job, hold on to that. Do something on the weekends, do something at night, show yourself you're committed. If you're coming home from work at 5 o'clock and you're working another 7 hours at night on a business and you're putting 35 to 40 hours into that business, it will become something if you can make it something. You don't need to quit to do that. So prove it to yourself, make the money, and then replace it. But people do make the mistake of going all in. They think that's the way to go. I heard him say, try 9 times, fail 10. How many times can you fail though financially? If you have a life and you have things to support, you can't fail 9 times. You need to have a steady base, and then you need to build something you can replace it with. So
yeah, there's this balance between not giving up and giving up. Not giving up, there's the balance between giving up and pivoting or changing, trying something different. Because for me, with handstand, I said that you just never know. The day before I did a really good handstand this last week, I was having a really hard time with it. I was getting really frustrated. But then the next day, it was it was the perfect handstand, better than I've done probably my whole life. It felt amazing. I was so excited. And then within a few days after that, I did another one that was really, really good, felt really awesome. And it's just I was so excited because it just felt like it was never going to happen. I just keep trying it. I'm trying. I've been working on this for 1.5 years now, and over 1.5 years actually. And I think actually about 1.5 years. And I'm just now starting to kind of get it. And I had to fail so many more than 9 times to get a handstand down. Now for me, that was my own personal desire and goal. It wasn't going to affect anyone in my life if I wasn't getting that handstand down. Do you know what I mean? So it wasn't my money that I was failing over and over, and I would just keep trying. Because that's it's there is something to be said with, you don't know when success is right around that next corner, but at the same time you have to be smart and go towards your strengths and not just keep trying to work against your weaknesses nonstop your whole life. That's really not the key to being successful. Just keep trying to strengthen your weaknesses till you die. I mean, not a good way to go.
And something else too, you hear people say that, I work a job, I don't really like it, I want to start a business because I think I'll love it and I'm going to make a lot of money. That's a great idea, but what they're really saying is, I'm working too hard, I want to work less, I think a business will be that. The reality is you need to work harder first so you can work less later. So right now, if you hate your job, you're not only going to have to work your job and hate it, but you're going to have to work this new business, which is not going to be easy, and you're going to learn that very quickly.
Which is everybody's job. If you say you were going to go out and open a business to compete with the last place you worked, You don't just have to do your job better than your boss could do it. You have to do your boss's job better than they would do it, and every single other role. You have to do everything for the whole business, potentially for years before you ever have anyone to relieve you of any of that.
Yep. So
Sorry.
yeah, no, that's right on. It's spot on. I mean, that's what I'm getting at. You basically people are trying to do it because they want an easier life. What they don't realize is they have to do a much harder life first to get what they're really seeking, and it's hard. I mean, that's like going to the gym too. Like, I don't want to go to the gym 5 days a week, but you go to the gym 5 days a week. If you want to get to that next level, that's what you have to do, and it's harder right now, and it will be easier later. But it's twice as hard now than it was when I was going 2 or 3 days a week. But the result will be better. So It's the same in business. It's the same in life. Like, don't look for the easy way. Look for the hard way and own that. And that's where success comes from. It's where taking the hard road and really owning it. The easy road is not
something that other people find hard that you don't, I think, is also really.
Or people find something people don't want to do that you do well or you're willing to do.
That you're willing to do even, yeah.
Yeah.
That's a good way to say it too. You don't want to be too old to enjoy that time either. Hey! I thought I heard you down there. Hey. Oh, not much. Just live. Talking about 6, 7 steps. Want some tuna?
It is hot up here.
Want some tuna? That's what she said.
You guys want tuna on the internet? Oh, wait, there's like none left. Sorry, guys. There's an empty bowl. Open a can of whoop ass? Oh, sorry. Can we say that on here? They say work hard to play hard. Well, I would say you have to work harder than you play. Otherwise, you're not going to ever be getting ahead.
Where's your blue screen?
Thanks, Dan. The green screen?
Yeah.
Where is the green screen? I think it's in the closet when we did the carpet in here. Okay, sorry. You try to find the right way. It's really hot. I know. I don't know why it's so hot in here. Oh, it's so nice. Leave that door open. I try to find the right way to do something, not always the easy way. Okay, good to see you.
I never see you.
Hi. Do you want to come say hi to them?
No.
I tried to get him to come on, guys. I tried to get
You never come on either.
on to bum rush the podcast.
You're going to poke your head in? Yay! Beer!
What's up?
It's almost 5. 33 minutes.
I got a 30 pack.
You're interviewing Ed?
Yes.
What's up, Ed?
Yeah, I do. What is it?
Hey.
He says hi.
Light.
Ew, no.
Just Labatt.
Thank you. Okay. You 4. Thank you. Did I miss? Yeah, it's not the work that you're afraid of. It's the lack of financial stability that scares you. Yeah, don't quit your job. Just do it around. Oh, I was going to say that too. And I don't know, Ed, I know you've told us a lot of this, and sorry, what I remember, what I forget. But when I was working full-time doing office work, business administration type stuff for a medical company, totally different than what I wanted to be doing long-term. And I got my yoga teacher certification around my full-time job, and then also started teaching yoga in addition to my full-time job. I would just teach a couple of classes at night, evening classes during the week, and sometimes on the weekends, and try some private classes, and made sure that, one, I enjoyed doing it, and that it was viable. Because I didn't really hate doing my job, I just wasn't making enough money to live the life I wanted to live. And that's something, I think is that part of the step that we're on, before I get ahead of myself here? 19. Yeah, no, that's the next step, so let me not even talk about that right now. How much time do we have? We have no more time. We only did 2.
I know, that's okay though. But the one thing too is we were talking about the budgeting before. So a big part of starting a business and changing your life, you're doing that budget in the beginning so that you can see what expenses you can remove. So like if you're spending $5,000 a month working your job and you need to make $5,000 a month, if you analyze your budget, you may find out you only need $2,000 a month if you live a little tighter. Now it's much easier to replace the income with that part-time business you're doing. And then what you're doing is you're earning back your lifestyle. And what's wonderful about that is once you get to $5,000 and you re-earn your lifestyle back, now you have unlimited possibility to keep going because you basically traded your job for a business. So there's a lot of ways to make that shift, but I can definitely tell you, quitting your $100,000 a year job to do a business is not the way to do it. Not normally. Unless you know somebody or somebody's feeding you. But
oh, and that was another thing. So for me, I was literally making like $30,000 a year. I wasn't making 6 figures by any means, working full-time at a business where I was undervalued, obviously, by the amount that I made, but also there wasn't anywhere for me to really create a lot more value that they were willing to do. I was willing to basically help them branch out and have another location and run that location, but we couldn't agree on terms. It was just not couldn't come to an agreement on that. And that's kind of like, it sounds like sorry, I didn't read your comment out loud. He said, I'm at a job where I have 2 times the knowledge and drive of everyone I work with, and yet since they've worked there longer, they make 2 times the money I do. It's infuriating. And I would just say that if you know what you want to do, and you have the knowledge, and you have the nest egg, they call it, because that's what I did. I did have to take somewhat of a risk when I did quit my job completely, because I hadn't fully replaced my income, because it's pretty hard to do that when you're working a full-time job, to replace a full-time income in addition to continue working that job. It's pretty hard to fully replace that income, I think. I don't know how people really normally do that, or how Ed's recommending that you do that, but as long as you have a significant amount of money saved, enough to get you through years of failure, then you're probably okay to do that, as long as there's nothing really riding on this. You don't still have tons of debt, or a family that's counting on a certain lifestyle that you're going to be pulling out from under them.
You're making a really good point too. I'm looking at it from the perspective of, you need to have cash flow to continue to run your life. If you do manage to save a large amount of money that can run you for 6, 9, 12, 24, 36 months, that's permission to start a business too, because you have the time in that process to say, hey, look, I'm going to give this 12 months. If in 12 months I'm not making X number of dollars per month to start to replenish this, then I'm going to go look for a job because I still have 6 months left. That's planning for. That's totally a viable strategy. I agree with that 100%. I'm not saying that my way is the only way. I think that's a great way to do it also. In fact, I almost like that better, because you get to go full in, and you really get to depend on yourself. And you even get the chance to fail,
it does not feel good to like be spending money and not earning it. It's when you're used to just putting away savings all the time, like to that little transitionary period. Because I had probably at least 6 months where I made, barely anything, like barely anything, if anything, and it was fine because my overhead is so low, and the amount that I had saved could cover well beyond that distance of time. But that's why I could do that, and that's why I could keep a smile on my face and use positivity and energy and be okay to focus on my business and be clear-headed, because financial stress is really distracting, and it comes through. Your stress comes through. It makes you less appealing to people, which means I wouldn't have as many viewers or sponsors or friends or my husband, or it would just be like it kind of leads to a harder life when you have financial stress. So take as little risk with your finances as you can, with your core finances, like what
especially in the beginning, right? Because I always talk about risk and leverage, but I'm not risking or leveraging my entire wealth ever.
Right. Like
I'm risking and leveraging 10% or 20% at a time, because you don't always win. Like, you have to know that. Like, you have to know that you can't just bet on something and win every time. In business, it's not like, okay, if you go to the casino, you might win 40% of the time. In business, you can win 80% of the time, but there's still a really painful 20% where you lose, and it happens. And you have to be ready for that. So, yeah, the savings thing and the not going all in. There are so many lessons here. Like, I can't even think of them all in the time we have, which is not.
I know, which is zero minutes, which is -3 minutes. Are we going to find a casino in Washington, D.C.?
Yes, we're definitely going to find it. There's one 15 minutes from the center of Washington, D.C.
All right.
You need to win.
Make sure you guys are following this channel, because me and Ed and Jackie of All Trades, Calvin Thomas Music, Warrior Class, maybe a note to self, other people, if you guys are in the DC area. Superman 216, Chris, the artist. Who else? I'm sure I'm probably forgetting tons of awesome people. That maybe Dan on Fleek, maybe. I don't know. Maybe he's a world traveler. Maybe he'll just come and see us. So we're all going to be meeting up in Washington, D.C. pretty soon. So stay tuned for that. And I'm also going to be coming back on later today to do Yoga Challenge Day 16. And we're going to make some spinach artichoke dip. I know we've made spinach and artichoke dip before, but I'm kind of running a little low on time I failed to plan ahead for food day today, so I'm going to make something we made before because it's nice and easy and I love it. And last week we didn't really eat any of those leftovers, so it was kind of a waste, and I don't like doing that 2 weeks in a row. And if you watch my replay from last night, the cooking show with Miss Ruby, our newest content creator, for Thursday nights at 8:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, she did beef casserole. So there's your new recipe for the week. So I'm off the hook then, right? I'm still going to cook for you guys. I'm just going to make the same thing we made before, because I really liked it, and I've been wanting to have it again anyway. But I have to go to the store and get artichokes, and I have to shower and figure out what my husband is doing and all this stuff. So I'll be back later for 2 more hours, a little bit less than 2 hours of content. Ed, do you have any last words?
I got nothing. We talked.
Yay! This was fun. Thank you. Awesome.
Yep.
Oh, Katie just came in at the end. And thank you for match day yesterday, too. You're the best.
Yep. Ready.
Please make sure to check out the website, you guys, femyoga.com. This channel is 100% funded by viewers, just like you guys. Thank you so much for making this show possible. Katie, I love you. This has been A Moment in Time with Taylor and Ed. See you next time. As always, we actually started 30 minutes late today. We went 30 minutes late. So join us back next Friday at 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for episode, I don't know, what, 7? I have no idea. But we're going to pick up on step 20. And we're going to be talking about the PACE system, which I'm really excited about. I have a lot to say about. Okay, get ready. Get your game face on. Don't talk. Dan, thank you for the super hearts. I said don't talk. Okay, this has been A Moment in Time with Taylor and Ed. These are the Tade Talks. I hope you enjoyed. We'll see you next week.